Hello everyone. We have seen the difference between text files and binary files, and now we know that text files are the ones that are human readable. But the text files we have seen so far were unstructured. They were just regular lines of text dumped into the file. When we are working on data, we may want to keep our data in a more structured format so that it's easy to process, maybe like Excel in rows and columns, but still as a text file so we can read our data visually if we like, and maybe we can change something in it. There are two common conventions for this called CSV and TSV files, abbreviations respectively for comma separated values and tab separated values. Such files are generally used to record and exchange data in a structured and easy to process format. They are pretty frequent to come across. Let's download one, for example. So if we can go to this World Atlas of Language Structures web page and to the languages part, here we can see a large archive for languages. And if we try to download this, then one of the file formats that we come across is CSV. So I will download this CSV file. And now let's check how this file looks like. So this is again a text file as our list shows us, but there are these values separated with commas, hence the name comma separated values. It is formatted in some way resembling an Excel file. So there are rows in this file. This is the first row, and the columns of the row are separated by these commas. So the first column is going to correspond to an ASCII name. The second column is going to correspond to description. It can be empty as you see, but there are still the commas here to determine, to specify which value is corresponding to this particular column. And the third column is the genus, here we can see, and so on and so forth. We can as well open this file with no text editor, and then we can maybe more easily see that all of these are separate lines. So one thing about these CSV files, for example, is it's a bit like an Excel file that we expect every row to have the same number of columns. That's why empty columns are also shown here as a non-value between two commas. If we want our file in a structured format, why do we use a CSV file instead of an Excel file? Well, the idea is that it's easy to process a CSV file by opening it up in our programs or scripts. If we just wanted to view the file visually, of course, maybe an Excel format would be fine, but we really cannot read data from an Excel file in a program because Excel is a Microsoft format, so it's not public knowledge how its precise format is. Even if it was, it would be cumbersome really to try to read from an Excel file because it keeps so many irrelevant details like the font and the color of characters, different tabs, which are nice when we are viewing visually, but are really troublesome when we are trying to get this bare data for just processing it with our program. So the CVS file really keeps just as much as we need, which are the values corresponding to each attribute of each item. TSV files are almost exactly the same. They are just separated by tabs like this instead of commas. They can be visually easier to read if the length of each column is more or less the same, but they can be even more confusing if the lengths are widely varying, because then the tabs can get messy. I personally happen to see more of CSV files around, but it's also good to be aware of this other tab separated convention as well. You are also, of course, if you are writing your own file, you can use other separators as you like as well, like some colons or semicolons maybe. But CSV and TSV files are pretty standard, and you have a higher chance of coming across them. And if you are distributing data, maybe it's a better idea to use the more conventional ones. So another thing we can do is we can open a CSV file in Excel. So Excel is able to understand because it's basically, well, text file, no strange format there. When I first try to open it, puts everything in the same column, but well, going to, I think, data and text to columns and choosing the delimited option. Delimiter means this special character that is used to separate the columns from each other. So in the CSV case it's the comma, in the TSV case it's the tab, and it can be something else as well. So here Excel already provides us the ability to choose whichever delimiter that we want, and mine is comma, so I'm going to choose that one. Yes, so as you have seen, is also pretty convenient that we can open a CSV file in Excel. We can also as well, if we have it with less, for example, then copying and pasting this kind of information is also completely okay. And then I will need to do the same text to columns thing. However, we will also see in the next videos that command line is also pretty strong to process CSV or TSV files, so we don't always need to really open the file in Excel and then save it there or copy paste information. For example, if we need to sort the columns according to some criteria, then we are also able to do this using the Unix utilities, and we will see them in the upcoming video.